Hello. All right, can you guys hear me? Can you see? Maybe? All right, I'm gonna get started. Exam tomorrow, trig ratios. Here we go. All right. Always important to figure out what you're looking for. Are you looking for a sine? Are you looking for an angle? Those are your choices. Are we finding a side? Are we looking for an angle? So for this one, we're looking for a side. Anytime you're looking for a side, you need to use sine, cosine, tangent. Those are your choices. I always like to start with what's given. What am I given here? I am standing right here. I'm given 35 degrees. I have this guy over here. I have a leg, and I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. So I've got opposite over hypotenuse. I'm right here, 35. That's what's given to me. Opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse is sine. So I have sine 35 equals opposite over hypotenuse, 4 over x. I need to get x by itself. When your x is in the denominator, it's an extra step. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. That's going to get rid of this side. And I'm going to get x sine 35 equals 4. Or that's just like a number. Sine 35 is just a number. I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide this guy out. Divide both sides by sine of 35. So x is equal to 4 divided by sine 35. All right, on your calculator. 4 divided by sine 35. I think on your exam, you're going to be rounding to the nearest tenth. That gets me 6.97. If I round it up, it's going to be approximately 7. So remember, we use approximations, not exact unless it's there. So you're here. All right, number 2. I'm right here at 40. I have no hypotenuse. I have my adjacent side. I have my opposite side. Opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent is tangent. Tangent 40 equals 6 over x. Sorry, x over 6. I said x over 6. Here we go. Multiply both sides by 6. This one's going to be easier. 6 tangent 40 equals x. So this is 6 times the tangent of 40. Calculators. 6 times tangent 40 gets me 5. About 5. 5.03. Okay? All right. Number 3. Right here at 50. There's my hypotenuse. I have adjacent, hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine 50 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Multiply both sides by 3. X is equal to 3 times the cosine of 50. Calculator again. Remember, you're going to get a calculator for your exam here. So you've got 3 times cosine 50, and that's going to get you 1.928. All right. In this, you can always try to look at your answers and see what makes sense. For this guy right here, your hypotenuse is 3. So you know your legs have to be smaller. So 1.928 if you had 1.9 or 2, that's a realistic answer for this guy. So kind of think of your hypotenuse always is going to be the longest. Make sure your legs are shorter. And that's kind of a way you can check to see if your math is okay. All right. Down here, we're missing angles. So when you're doing angles, it's going to have to be inverse, right? Inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent. All right, we're here. I'm looking for that guy. So if I'm here, I have my hypotenuse, I have my opposite. Opposite over hypotenuse is sine, but it's inverse sine. So inverse sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, 8 over 10. To get to your inverse sine, it's this little purple guy above it. You need to hit the second button. Inverse sine, 8 divided by 10. Which is going to give me 53.1. That's what that light kind of fix. All right, this guy right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more for you guys right here. All right, I'm here. Here's my hypotenuse. I'm not given anything with my hypotenuse. So I have opposite over adjacent. That's tangent. Again, I'm looking for an angle, so it's inverse tangent. So inverse tangent equals opposite over adjacent, 4 over 6. Same deal in your calculator. Inverse tangent, 4 divided by 6, which gives me 33.69. All right, rounding to the nearest tenth, that would be approximately 33.7. If you needed to round to the nearest hundredth, you look at the other one. Just go with whatever the directions say. All right, last one here for missing angles. I'm here in this corner. I've got adjacent and hypotenuse. Remember, your hypotenuse is directly across from your right angle all the time. That's where I know where my hypotenuse is. So we've got adjacent, hypotenuse, cosine. Remember, we're looking for an angle. So it's inverse cosine equal, or is we're looking to 3 adjacent over hypotenuse, 3 over 10. Hi, Mr. Barsonis. All right, on your calculator, inverse cosine, 3 divided by 10. Okay, and we've got 72.54. That number goes on and on and on. Remember, we use approximation, and there we go. All right. Down here, looking at trig ratios. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Get rid of that guy too. There we go. All right, on your test, there's a section like this. It's matching. So you're going to be asked to find different angles. Remember, you're never going to be asked to find anything having to do with the right angle. It's always going to be different ones. So we've got tangent of C. Here's C. Tangent is always opposite over adjacent. So I'm here, opposite over adjacent. 12 over 13, sorry. 12 over 13. Cosine of B. I'm up here. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine of B, adjacent over hypotenuse, 12 over 17. Sine of C, you're down here. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, opposite over hypotenuse, 12 over 17. Tangent of B, again, tangent's opposite over adjacent, opposite, directly across, over adjacent, 12. Cosine of C, adjacent over hypotenuse. And then sine of B, opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. And then one thing I put a little note in here for was to look at the relationship between the sine and cosines of angles. On these right here, we're looking at B and C. Remember, A doesn't count because it's the right angle. So we're looking at B and C here. It's important to notice that the sine of one angle is the cosine of the other angle. So the sine of one angle is the cosine of another angle. And when you get in there, just know that on your test tomorrow, if you have the same answer twice, it makes sense because, again, sine of one is the cosine of the other. Right? They're equal to each other. All right, word problems. There are 2 word problems on your exam. You are expected to draw a diagram, label it correctly, write the equation, and then solve. So you need to do all those different steps. You're not getting graded on your artwork. So a ladder leaning against a building, right? There's the building. You can do it however you want. Here's the ladder. It's leaning against the building. There's my ladder. Makes an angle of 78 degrees with the ground. Okay, well, obviously there's the ground. This makes an angle of 78 degrees with the ground. You're expected to know that. The foot of the ladder, the foot's the bottom, is 5 feet from the building. So this guy down here is 5 feet. So I hope everybody here can see we've just got a right triangle. This is 5 feet. They want to know how long the ladder is. So the length of the ladder is x. At 78 degrees, here I am. I've got my adjacent side and my hypotenuse. But adjacent and hypotenuse, which is cosine. I'm looking for a side, so I want to use cosine and not inverse cosine or anything else. I've got cosine 78 equals 5 over x. Solve for x. Remember, when your variable's on the bottom, it's going to take 2 steps to get rid of that. So I have x times cosine 78 equals 5. Divide both sides by cosine 78. And I get x equals 5 over cosine 78. There are no angle of elevation questions or angle of depression questions. Those are all extra credit. It's going to be like this. It'll be the ladders. It'll be a pole leaning against a wall. You won't have the actual elevation or depression questions will not be on this exam. Let me zoom in for a minute here so you can see the math. All right, no calculator. This is how you leave your answer. All right, that's what your answer looks like with no calculator. However, you are given a calculator on tomorrow's exam. So you have 5 divided by cosine 78, which will get you 24.04, 24.04. It is approximately 24. 24 what? It is 24 feet because you're looking for the length of the ladder. So this guy right here is 24 feet. Again, that problem makes sense. This guy's 5. The hypotenuse is always going to be the longest. All right, second word problem. A 15-meter pole leans against a wall. All right, so I've got my wall. There's my pole. The foot of the pole is 10 meters from the wall. So again, the foot of the pole is 10 meters from the wall. So here's this and this. That's 10 meters. Find the angle the pole makes with the ground. Okay, I know this guy is 15. It tells me right there. 10, the ground part right here. I want this angle right here. The angle the pole makes with the ground. Here's the pole, here's the ground. Again, hope you guys see you're just making right triangles over and over and over again. All right, I am here. This is the angle. And for this one, I've got adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent over hypotenuse. I'm looking for an angle. So with the angle, I need to use inverse cosine. Oh my goodness, these people are killing me. So inverse cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. on your calculator, inverse cosine, 10 divided by 15, and you get 48. 48.18. Right, that's the angle down here. Right, depending on where you're asked to round to, this one asked you to round to the nearest tenth, so it's approximately 48.2. Okay, we can go over more word problems. I have a whole slew of word problems, right? But literally, these are the only new things on your test. It is missing sides using sine, cosine, tangent, missing angles, inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent, being able to look at these, sine, cosine, tangent, and then word problems. That's all the new stuff on your test for tomorrow. I'll do more word problems. Let me just show you guys what the review looks like. The review is the 45, 45, 90 triangles. These are the special right triangles, the 30, 60, 90 triangles. Pythagorean theorem. So the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Right? And angle sum. So triangle angle sums. All right, so this guy right here, I can tell right away it's a 45, 45, 90. Why? Because I have these markings here, which make it isosceles. These guys are here. Remember, the rule for a 45, 45, 90 is that the radical part, or the part across from the hypotenuse, is always going to be this one, rad 2. So this guy's going to be 5, this guy's going to be 5. Remember, your legs are the same, and this guy's rad 2. Whatever your leg is, rad 2. On your 30, 60, 90, okay, remember, opposite the 30 is just the x. Opposite the 60 is the x, rad 3. And looks like there are 2 of you. Wow. I'll just get that. We'll just get rid of that one. How's that? All right. And then opposite the 90 is 2x. All right. So we have opposite the 30 is the smallest one. Opposite the 90, so your hypotenuse, is 2 times this. So if this is 20, then this guy is 10. And then this guy right here is going to be 10 rad 3. All right, question like this, straight up Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I've got 5 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. Remember, this guy right here always has to be your hypotenuse. 25 plus 49 equals c squared. That gives me, add those up, 74 equals c squared. Square root both sides. So c is equal to rad 74. Remember, you can't leave your answer like that. You're going to need to put it in simplest radical form. On a multiple choice, they could give you this one, or they could give it to you in simplest radical form. So if we can break this down, I know 2 goes into that. 2 goes into that 37 times. 37 doesn't break down into anything else. So this guy right here is good to go. You can't break down any further. All right. Last one. This is like a triangle angle sum. Again, this is all review. This guy right here, 90. This guy right here is 80. So I know this one right here, my total in a triangle has to equal 180. So if this is 90 and this is 80, let's add those up. Gives me 170. If I subtract it from 180, this angle down here is 10. How do I find this guy right here? Well, they are a linear pair. supplementary angles. So this guy right here has to be 170. If you don't have it like this, or there's an equation out here, remember that these two add up to be the outside. So your 2 here add up to be this one right here. So 90 plus 80 is 170. I went the long way about it to show you guys how you can do that, but the exterior angle theorem is that this exterior angle equals the sum of these 2 interior angles. All right. And honestly, that is it. That's the whole review. I can do more word problems. I can do more missing sides with sine, cosine, tangent. I can do more missing angles. Let me know what you guys want me to do. I know word problems are always an issue. I think everybody got Arno's review sheet. I can do a couple of those if you guys want. There is one like this. Let me show you guys this. There is one like this on your test where you're given all 3 sides and it asks you to find an angle. So when you do these, you get to pick. It doesn't matter. All your answers are going to be the same. So you can pick inverse sine. Remember, we're looking for an angle, so we need inverse sine. And you could go opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. If you were to plug that into the calculator, you're going to get the same answer no matter which one you pick. So if I did inverse cosine would be adjacent over hypotenuse. And inverse tangent will be opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. Okay. I can plug all these into the calculator. You're going to get the same answer for each one. So you get to pick. When you're given all 3 sides, very easy. Just pick which one you want to use and you'll get the right answer. For number 9, okay, you're looking for an angle here. You got to use inverse sine, cosine, or tangent. And for this one, you have opposite over hypotenuse. So that would be inverse sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. If you're looking for a side, see how going the wrong way, sorry. So we're looking for this side. This is when you use regular sine, cosine, tangent. So we've got adjacent over hypotenuse. That's cosine. So cosine 49 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Right? Okay. So that is that. If there's anything else you guys want me to go over, let me know right now. Otherwise, like I said, there's trig ratios are going to be the big thing. Trig ratios will be another big part of next week's exam also, where you will have angle of elevation, angle depression kind of stuff, and you will get more word problems. We're doing the computer testing next week. So otherwise, tomorrow's test should be very short. There's not a lot of questions. There's 2 word problems. There are a few of these, solving for a side, a couple of solving for an angle, and then again, your review is, the review questions are 45, 45, 90 triangles, 30, 60, 90 triangles, Pythagorean theorem, and the triangle angle sums. Okay, so good luck tomorrow, and hope everyone does well. And if you need tutoring, I'll be around at lunch. If you have 3rd period math, you can come by and I can tutor at lunch. So if you need last minute tutoring. Otherwise, again, Mr. Finch is there super early in the morning and he is in room 107. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.